Good day everyone, and welcome back to another Ross Reviews, where today we are reviewing the 70 Series Land Cruiser once again, and this one being the 78 Series Troopy. Australia is the biggest marketplace for the Toyota Land Cruiser. It is also sold in Africa and the UAE, but major places such as the United States, North America, the UK, they do not get this car, and mainly due to emission standards this thing puts out. But this Toyota Land Cruiser, it's just so suited for the harsh outback, for the middle of Australia, Africa, where these cars are mainly seen in the mining sector. It's a total beast, this vehicle. Now, funny enough, these were first shown off in 1984, and this platform right here, today I am driving a 2019 model year Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series, and this is basically almost the same as it came out in 1984. Yes, they did upgrade a few things along the way, but look at the pictures, look at these things side by side. They have barely changed anything since they came out, and I think that is why a lot of people just love this thing, because it's still got that old school feel about it, and it's just built to last, this thing. It really is. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And Toyota, with the Land Cruiser, has really stuck by that motto. The quality in here is not extremely high, but the reliability is. And there is something to that, because you feel some of the interior bits in here, the dash and the center console. Everything does kind of flex. It does kind of move. It doesn't give you the best quality feel. It's all cheap plastic. But you got to think, if you're going out off-road in the bush, you're thrashing this thing around, if every bit was, super tight, it never moved, over time it would become brittle and it would just get destroyed. Because this car will flex, everything kind of moves around, it lasts. And I gotta say, it is amazing to see these things. This particular one, again, being a 2019 model, and it still looks like something from the 80s. It's pretty cool to see. Now let's just go through some of the different models you can get here in Australia. And there are quite a few different ones, but all of them do have the 4.5 liter turbo diesel up front. From factory, these things will make 151 kilowatts and about 430 Newton meters. Now I do believe, since the Land Cruiser has changed and dropped its V8 engine, this is the last turbo diesel V8 Toyota is making. I am pretty confident in that fact. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments, but I think now this is the only vehicle that has this old school engine, the big V8, 4.5 liter, the big dirty, the emissions creator apparently. And I don't know, I reckon if there were more of these things on the planet, we wouldn't need to make so many more cars. So I don't know, who's with me? So within this range here in Australia, at least, we have the Troopy. So this is the Troop Carrier. We call this the 78 Series. We've got 3 doors, 2 seats in this particular one. I believe you can get them as a 5-seater as well. In the back, the roof kind of does do this little bulge, so you do get a little bit extra headroom out the back. This particular one as well does have a swag fitted, so we can camp out in this. We've got a bit of a mattress back there. We have some storage. You could really pack this thing up across Australia, and this would do everything you need. You can also get these as a 79 series, so if you want to have a flat tray bed at the back, you can do that in a single cab or a dual cab here in Australia. Or you can go, my personal favorite, the 76 series, which is the big SUV, the baddie. I think that one looks the coolest. This thing is just so in its element when it's off-road. When you're on-road, you can feel that this thing is not at home. It's not where it wants to be. Off-road, this is where it lives. This is its happy place. And you're just looking over that bonnet, seeing all the nature, just smashing down trees, going through the bush. It's awesome to feel. You do feel like you are very king of the road, you know, king of the trail out here type vehicle. Nothing is going to stop this car, it feels like, when you're in the driver's seat. It's bloody awesome to do. You know, the manual transmission here, it's a 5-speed. It's pretty easy to use. You know, I gotta say, the clutch is really easy. The gearbox is really easy. This vehicle, you know, anyone who doesn't know how to drive a manual, this is a great learner's vehicle to drive in because it is just so simple. It's definitely intimidating when you get in the driver's seat because you sit very high up. You can see pretty good visibility all around. Now, as for towing, this vehicle can tow up to 3.5 tons. As for a payload, you can go just over a ton as well. So, you know, you can really strap this thing up with accessories, which a lot of people do. This particular one included, you know, it's got quite a lot of nice stuff on it. And this thing, again, it's just so much fun to take out for a cruise. What a beast, mate. What a beast. Going into a maze of trails here. We don't want to get lost out in the sticks. New title of the video, Getting Lost in a Land Cruiser 70 Series, mate. I used to work in the outback as a miner underground here in Australia, and the vehicle of choice was a 79 Series pickup, single cab. And, you know, my goodness, the things were just indestructible. And covering the extremely harsh terrain underground, you know, you really needed a vehicle like this because we would occasionally take Rangers down there. We would occasionally take Hiluxes. And within the span of about 2 to 3 months, those vehicles would be completely rusted out. They'd be broken, not working at all. Yet we would still have the Land Cruisers just hauling ass. When you drive this thing on the road, in the city, you know, it can be uncomfortable. It can be hard on the fuel bill. It can be hard on your tires. It can be noisy in here. There really isn't much insulation. At highway speeds, you do get a lot of wind noise around the cabin. The features in here are like what you would expect on like a $1,000 Honda because this thing is, you know, it's from the 80s essentially. You know, you don't have an infotainment system or anything. You've just got the most basic climate controls. But everything works and everything is a function. And there isn't any weird gizmos in here because you're out in the bush, you need to fix it. You can. You know, you're out in the bush. You don't need all this electrical stuff frying out. You know, you're going through lakes, you're crossing rivers. You know what I mean? This thing is going to get wet, it's going to get dirty. So having it as basic as possible in here is really what Toyota's best bet is, and that's how they've left it. You know, you've even got an aerial down here that, you know, you can raise and lower your antenna. It's seeing that in a modern car is just laughable, and in this, you got it, you know what I mean? Now, all of these Land Cruisers do have a big fuel tank. They're about 130 liters. But this one being the Troopy, you get an extra fuel tank, which extends the range now. You get a 180-liter tank. It is nice that you have that extra fuel tank in this Troopy, so that if you are crossing in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Australia, you do have a bit more peace of mind that you've got enough fuel to get you where you need to go. Now let's cover price, because that is a big issue with me on these vehicles. From new, you're going to pay about $72,000 if you get one of these from Toyota from the factory. Honestly, that sounds pretty reasonable for what you get, the level of how reliable these things are. It is actually just a hard vehicle to find from Toyota brand new. I will tell you that right now. Now, in the used market, this is really where you're going to pay out your eyeballs. It's absolutely insane, because these things on the used market are anywhere between $60,000 to like $150,000 on the used market. It is insane. I have seen some that have 250,000 Ks. They're 20 years old, and they still want $95,000 for it. I've seen some that are 5 years old. They got 150,000 Ks. They've got a few accessories. They want $150,000 for it. It's ridiculous. This particular one has 40,000 Ks. It's 2019. Does have some mods, and it is $119,000 from Car Giant WA. So a big thank you to Car Giant WA for allowing me to take out their 70 Series Land Cruiser today. There is a link for this one if you guys are interested and you want to have a look at it. This thing is pretty awesome, but for 120 grand, it is a lot of money. These cars are not cheap, and I think because they have not changed the design, the look of these things for 30 years, the prices have just stayed high for all of them. So you have one that's 10 years old, it's still expensive. You have one that's brand new, obviously it's still expensive. Now this particular one we are driving today does have a few modifications, as you could probably tell. We do have an ARB bull bar up front. We do have bigger wheels, bigger tires on here. We have King suspension upgrade. We have a custom exhaust. This has had a tune to the engine, so instead of making 200 horsepower from factory at the crank, this is now making 250 horsepower to the wheels. You get it into about 2,000. The mid-range really just hauls you up a lot nicer. You do feel like you have a lot more power mid-range in this car now from the tune, so it is a noticeable increase. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's about threw everything off. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, these things are scary at speed. Oh my goodness. Everything just flew backwards. It definitely felt healthier than the last one I had done, but let's have a look what the draggy said. Now, the 0 to 100 time was 12.4 seconds, so definitely a massive improvement with this tune. And like I was saying before, you can really feel it kind of mid-range around that 2,000 RPM mark. This thing's got a lot more pull. It definitely feels a lot more healthy now. So definitely if you own one of these, it is worth getting that ECU tune. Yes, that custom exhaust as well. It sounds healthy, guys. Yeah, these are just one tough vehicle. They just look tough. They are tough. They're old school, go anywhere. Just no frills, get the job done, guys. And I absolutely love these things. Are they expensive? Yes. Are they amazing? Yes. Will they get you anywhere? Yes. Will they last the test of time? Yes, yes, yes. It's uncomfortable. They're not the best daily driver, but if you want something that is just get you anywhere, reliable as, you know, you can have this thing till you die basically and keep driving it. So that's the benefit, guys, here. And if you have that attitude, that's what you want out of your vehicle, there really is no other option. These things used to compete with the Land Rover Defender, and now that the Defender has been upgraded to this kind of luxury thing, more like a Sahara, this thing is in a class of its own, and it definitely is unlike any other vehicle I have tested.
In conclusion, the Land Cruiser 70 Series is truly one of those insane rare vehicles that has lasted over 35 years with almost zero visible design changes. Even though these are still leaf sprung at the rear, and in today's modern era, coils rule, the Land Cruisers are still admired as the king of the bush. And even though some will say it's the 80 series or the Patrol, if it was me doing a massive off-road trip through the harsh Aussie outback, there's no other vehicle I'd even look at over a 70 series Land Cruiser. Thanks for watching.